Welcome aboard the USS Strange New Pod. It's time for another bonus pod breaking down the newest episode of Lower Decks. But when it comes to hosts, today, you're getting twice the fun for the price of one. That's right! It looks while boiming in here, there was a slight malfunction, and I've become Marini. That's right, your favorite ensign Brittany's molecules have combined with her Mariner Zoom background.
Just when I thought that it couldn't get any more crazy from you, here we are.
I was excited for the puns. This is even better.
Right? This is a committed skit I got going on here. So, if you guys haven't noticed, we are joined this week by our very special guest, Erin Copeland from AE Multiverse Podcast. Welcome, Erin.
Hi.
And
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yourself.
Hello.
It's fun to talk to you guys in person, not in our extensive tweets.
Yeah, but that's where Star Trek lives, in tweets.
It's true. The internet is where we are.
Well, it's great to have you. Also, as always, big thanks to Sam Dillard and Samo Studios for our awesome intro music. And if you're listening to us over a nightcap in 10 Forward or maybe the Cerritos Lounge, head over to logicalcoffee.com and use the code A Strange New Pod to get 20% off your first order. Erin, before we get into our episode review, we know that you have Julian to blame for your current Discovery binge.
Yep.
So we're just wondering, what's it been like watching through for the first time?
Well, so the first two episodes I live tweeted at the same time, which was crazy. I hadn't done that before, but it was a lot of fun. I didn't know a lot about the show. I had sort of stayed away from it on purpose because I wanted to binge it when I had time, and my job is so crazy when I was at my job. You know, you guys remember jobs.
Yeah, jobs.
And yeah, so I've just sort of been saving it for a rainy day or when you're really, really sick. And, you know, this kind of counts. And then I just kind of forgot about it. And Julian started talking about the show. And so I was like, I'm going to watch the show. And I really liked it. I like the characters. I like Burnham. I think she's great. I love the idea of a human character who grew up in another culture, especially a culture like the Vulcans. And I like the ship. I like the crew. I have a lot of questions because I've seen previews for the newest season, and there's some things in there that don't make sense.
Yeah.
Black Alert is really interesting. I really like that Anthony Rapp is on the show. I knew he was there, but I got so excited about that because I love him from way back when in Rent. And I like everything that's going on. I just watched the episode the other day where they do the Groundhog's Day episode. I was going to try to get to a couple more, but it didn't happen. But that was really fun. I loved seeing from the outside of the ship, there were like the colorful lights. It looked like they were having a rave on the ship. Yeah, that episode was so much fun.
When you texted me that you were confused by seeing Giorgio in the preview, we have a bad tendency on almost every one of our episodes to make a Hamilton reference, and I just had to say, "Just you wait."
You did say that. That was a good one. And hey, I'm a Hamilton fan too, so I'm all about it. Anthony Rapp from musicals. Look, it's all connected, guys. It's connected.
Yep, just like my background, which, whoa, look at that.
Oh my
Transporter
God.
error got fixed. We're back to normal. So speaking of shows, you also have your own show podcast thing.
Well, it's not just mine. It's me and my friend Allie. We are friends from our job. We used to work together. We don't anymore, but we still do the same job. And she doesn't know, or now she does a little bit, but she didn't know anything about Star Trek beyond seeing the J.J. Abrams movies once, you know, when they came out with her friends. And so she was a real casual fan of it. And we just, with quarantine, you think you talk to people more, but we just didn't really, you know, connect as much. And I was like, hey, why don't we do a podcast? Then we have something specific to talk about. So we're not just like, hey, how's it going this week? Same thing. All right, bye.
Same.
Yeah, it gave us something to talk about, and she'd never seen it. So it's fun for me because you guys know a rewatch is fun. And this show specifically, I haven't seen it. And for her, she's new to the universe, so I get to have that vicarious fun of seeing somebody see it brand new, which is super cool because it's opening the door for someone. And our big thing is we want it to be an open door, like fun and enjoyable. You don't have to know everything. Listen, I mess up something every episode. I say someone's wrong name, or I tell her a fact about something that's totally wrong. So there's no gatekeeping in it. We're all about like welcome, and I'll tell you some crap you don't need to know.
I love every time that you give a fun fact about something from Star Trek, though. It's the best part of the show.
Just like Badgie,
thanks.
Fun fact.
Oh my God,
I'm going to burn your hearts in a fire.
Hopefully with less bone breaking.
Hey,
Right.
he seems to also be into bathing in blood, which just seems to be a theme for us. So
Right?
That is what our friendship is built on, in dancing and bathing in blood. And I love
it
that.
really is. That was where the friendship began. Was I wanted a GIF and you just made it, and I don't know how technology works. I do a little, just not really well. And he made me this great GIF, and then I didn't know how to download it, and he helped me with that. And yeah, we've been bathing in blood ever since.
Oh, I love it.
For some reason, that reminds me of Event Horizon.
Yeah. Yikes. Well,
My reference.
It's been
in
been
any
a while.
event, I just want to know, do you have a favorite Trek so far, or maybe a favorite episode or character?
Favorite Trek of any of the Treks?
Yes.
Okay, so I grew up watching TNG, but it wasn't, some of it was first run, I think, but I was pretty young. But Voyager came on when I was 7 years old, and I watched every episode every week with my mom, who was super into Star Trek, for 7 years while it was on. So that was the Trek I grew up with. And I saw a little bit of DS9, but not really at the time. So I would say Voyager is my Trek. And my favorite character would probably be between B'Elanna Torres and Geordi LaForge. I don't know why I like the engineers. I feel like they're the ones solving the problems, climbing through the Jeffrey tubes, and the captain's like, oh, I need this problem solved in 2 hours. And I like B'Elanna because she's the only one when he's like, oh, I can do it in 2. And I'm like, you know, the captain's like 1. And she's like, no. 2. If I say 2, I mean 2. Like, she doesn't take anybody's shit. I love that.
Scotty bullshit.
Yeah.
That is one of my favorite, like, B'Elanna moments, because I think that's, like, Year of Hell, right? Where she's like, I need this done, like, faster, and she's like, it can't be done faster.
It happens a couple of times. I know it happens sometime in season 1 early on. I think it's one of her first episodes as chief engineer. She's kind of establishing her thing. But I think it happens a few times.
Yeah.
And favorite episode, that's tough. I love the bad ones. I'm a big fan. I love all the Q episodes. And then if we're going to talk about specifically Voyager, come on, Threshold. It's like the greatest episode.
Slugs and a half.
And there's a reference in this episode of Lower Decks.
There is!
Oh, boy.
I was dying when I saw that. I was like, they did not.
What a good segue. Because,
Is that one of their babies?
dude, I don't know. I want to know. Because, like,
Hawk would
time-wise,
have the answer, right? Hawk would have the answer. How could it get from the Delta Quadrant that quickly back to the Alpha Quadrant?
but, like, it's also earlier in time than
Yeah,
Voyager.
you're right.
So,
Deep
like,
Space Nine wormhole.
Wormhole.
yeah, just
Yeah.
wormhole things. Something profits, sure.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's kind of connecting to my loop for you guys. So my strange question this episode is, what is your favorite transporter malfunction that's ever happened in any Star Trek? I don't care, canon or not, whatever. Just shoot from the hip. Tell me what.
Oh,
Easy.
Yeah, me too. I have an easy one too.
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
You go
You
first.
go,
Hawk.
go Hawk.
All right. The original series, Enemy Within. Kirk split in half by a transporter accident. One half is good, but weak in that. The other is pure evil, but strong.
Evil, always strong. Inside you are two Kirks. The one that wins is the one you feed.
I have to rethink mine. I don't think mine's a transporter error because it was done on purpose.
Well, you rethink. I'll go.
Well,
No, go ahead.
it would be. I love relics from TNG.
That's
Right?
a transporter malfunction, right?
Well, for the second guy, but not for Scotty. Right? But yeah, just getting Scotty back in that era with Geordi LaForge, two awesome engineers. Again, engineers.
I like the Tuvix episode from Voyager.
Yes.
Because it even did the uniform. Like, they really went for it with that,
Yes.
It mixed up everything.
Tuvix is my choice also because that episode it hits hard. And I have something later on that I'm going to bring up at the end of this episode, but like this episode has some ramifications for like what happens to Tuvix, because like if there really is a farm, what the fuck, Janeway?
Yeah.
I can't think of Tuvix anymore without thinking of Gao Tuvix.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one's worse. Oh.
They made a meme of Tuvix and added Gowron's like face using like the WhatsApp or Face app or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
You'll have to send that to me.
Yeah.
I love a meme.
We got memes.
My favorite is a more serious one because it kind of goes into multiple shows, and that is Thomas Riker.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah. So when Riker was just I believe a lieutenant, he gets split in two, and the crew of his old ship don't even know it, and they like strand Thomas Riker on this planet because they don't know that there was a transporter malfunction. And years later, the Enterprise is like, I guess, trying to salvage some of the ship. And guess who's there? Thomas Riker. And they take him aboard, and they were like, you can rejoin Starfleet at the rank that you were. And he becomes his own person, even though he's Will, basically. And it's great because one of my favorite episodes of DS9 ever, Defiant, features Thomas Riker coming back as he is part of the Maquis and infiltrates DS9 as Will, and then steals the Defiant and attacks a bunch of Cardassians, and it is an amazing episode.
Dude, I love all of the Maquis stuff.
Yeah. All the Maquis stuff is awesome. We did one of our episodes, we did a focus on all the ensigns, and one of them was obviously Ensign Rowe, and a lot of the Maquis stuff came up. So.
Oh, speaking of the Ensign episode, the Hoshi episode, Vanishing Point, was a really good transporter issue one.
It's amazing that people use transporters after all this shit happens.
Yeah. And I mean,
this is the motion picture.
How often it gets messed up.
Yeah.
Do you remember Enterprise when early on when they were having crates beamed up and the guys were like, ooh, I'm not getting in there?
Yeah. That was the first episode, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the original series, didn't somebody like completely get destroyed? Or am I thinking
the motion picture?
The motion picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes.
One of the most gruesome scenes in film history, I think, or sci-fi film history.
Yeah, it's just the prestige in space. So
yeah, exactly.
So, this show is notorious for tackling all sorts of Star Trek tropes. And of course, this episode is basically the transporter trope. All the transporter malfunctions, anything that can go wrong. So we're going to start our little review. Our favorite thing on the show is always discussing the cold openings first. So this cold open was with the, quote, dog that Tendi made. What do we think? How does this rank so far amongst all the cold opens that we've seen?
I liked it. It was fun, but it wasn't... I kind of like the ones that don't have anything to do with what's going on. I think you guys might have mentioned it too, but it reminds me of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. And they can be sort of over the top. I mean, my favorite was the rock and roll one at the end. Captain says you're too loud!
Sorry.
That one was good. Yeah, this one's connected to the plot, so that got me. But also, I don't trust anything that's involving like people creating things with dogs because like my brain goes straight Full Metal Alchemist. So as soon as she was like, I created a dog, I was like, what's the catch? What is the fucking catch? So then when it like starts contorting and turns upside down and crawls up the wall, I was like, I knew it.
Oh man, Mariner wasn't phased at all by that. She would wake me up when there's a real problem.
Yeah, wake me up when there's something I have to worry about.
I quite love this cold open. Just because it has probably one of the best lines to say to a dog ever in that. Who has malleable protein bonds? Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Yes. So good.
I love Tendi. She's like so good-hearted and sweet and very earnest and excited. She wants to share it with all of her friends, even though they're exhausted. But her vibe is so pure.
Yeah.
She's so tender and warm.
Oh, yeah.
Little puns.
Yeah, I don't know if that needed one. No, it doesn't. No.
We'll let it go. Let it go. This whole dog. Sorry, Eric, go ahead.
No, okay. I liked it, but my issue with this is, and it's my issue for the last couple episodes, is that they've shown the funny intro, like in the trailer for the week previous, right? Like at the end of the show, you see it and you're just like, okay, I guess that was the whole joke. We saw it all.
Yeah, and then it happens, so then you see most of the joke already.
Yeah, so, but I liked it. I liked the whole, the homage to the thing. So
Yes.
I love
yeah.
that. Yes.
Very nice.
Oh man. Yeah, I enjoyed it. The only reason that the cold open and this plot of the episode works is because it's Tendi who did it. Like if it was a human, they'd know that wouldn't be a dog, right? But she's Orion. She doesn't know what a dog is. So she does all these things to the dog, thinking that this is what a dog does. Like when the bats spill out of it. I know it's later in the episode.
That was the best.
She's like,
Little bats.
I sequenced all 6 billion DNA strands. And Boimler's like, when do you sleep? And she's like, well, I don't.
I pretend to go to the bathroom.
How about when it just all of a sudden transforms into a metal cube?
And you know that metal cube is as happy as the dog was when it was just the dog, right?
Like,
you're just like, that's a happy cube going right there.
It is. Probably the happiest cube we'll ever see.
It cubes out of the room, and Boimler's like, anyway. They see weird shit all the time. It's just, it's another weird thing.
In Star Trek, you know, you have the board cubes, which are so menacing and scary, and then you have this like dog cube, which is the exact opposite. Like if you'd see one of these, you'd be like, Tendi did that. I'm okay with this. But a board cube appears and you're like,
I would have loved if they made a Disney reference and it started talking like Doug or Dog from Up for a minute. Like, do you want to be my master? I hid under your porch because I love you. Oh.
That'd be great. But then they'd have to pay Disney.
Yeah, exactly. No one wants to do that.
Or they could have just paid the voice actor.
It's true.
Good choice.
One of my favorite things about this cold open was actually like the fact that Rutherford still had like a messed up eye and a torn shirt from the last episode with Badgie.
Oh,
like the continuity was still there enough to show you that like it had been some time since the last episode, but he still wasn't like it was either like the next day or like later that week. So he was still.
I thought it was because they said they were doing this big maintenance project because it looked like Mariner had some tears and stuff on her.
Oh, okay, never mind then. I was hoping it was like the Badgie, like because he got real
refused to believe it was because of Badgie still.
Yeah.
Oh man, Badgie, you guys. I know we're not talking about that episode, but Badgie, I'm in for it 100%.
Badgie's everything.
Wait till you watch the show in a few weeks. We have a Badgie surprise.
I'm excited.
So, cold open aside, and you know, Badgie's aside. I hope he comes back. We have the synopsis for the episode. On this week's episode, Mariner tries to impress her best friend, Amina Ramsey, from Starfleet Academy, who is now a visiting captain. Then we have Boimler, who is sent to a Starfleet medical ship after a transporter accident puts him, quote, out of phase. And using her scientific knowledge, Tendi creates a, also, quote, dog from scratch. So what did we think about the general plot this week? Do we think it was a strong or weak episode? Like, how would you kind of, like, rate it so far?
I mean, okay, I should say more than that. I liked it. I thought it was a fun story. There was a lot going on. I liked seeing Mariner with one of her contemporaries. Mm-hmm. And I think we're seeing this through line through the show, through the last couple of episodes, where she needs to figure out what's going on with her, especially when we saw that flashback when she was on her old ship.
Yes.
And you could see that she was a lot more comfortable with herself and just the whole vibe up until their friend got ripped to pieces and her other friend was a murderer. And I think that there's probably other stuff we don't know about, but I think that I think she's seeing now that what she's doing, she knows she's doing it, right? But I think she's now that it's getting old, you know, if her friend's a captain, she must have been doing this for a while, you know? Yeah.
And this episode showed that they knew Ransom, too, from the Academy. So it's the fact that they're all supposed to be, like, she's supposed to be at that level. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that she was the best in her class, and they thought she'd be the first captain. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where the show goes with that, because it's called Lower Decks, and we've seen when she gets promoted, she's not really in that purview, although I think she could be, like, their supervisor. But I do want to see her evolve because it's really funny, like her messing around and everything, but it will also, I think it will get old, right? Like, and they're going to figure it out too, her team, because she is better than that. Like, I want her to retain her fun and her kind of like who gives a shit attitude, but in her own way, because I think she can work that into being a captain. Why not?
Definitely. And she has those moments where she like turns it on when things really matter. And she's mentioned in another episode, when it's bullshit rules that she doesn't agree with or they shouldn't be there, she, you know, pulls her crap. But then when push comes to shove, we see all the time that she's like saving Boimler, saving the ship. She just flips the switch and she goes like natural leader mode because she is one. She just I think she's just reaching the point where she's scared of it. She's scared of being successful. And so part of this episode, like, I was kind of bummed out because she was growing more the last few episodes, and then this one seemed like, oh, she's going back to like how she was. But I think this is like the final like line of her realizing like, I really am being destructive. I need to figure my things out. But like, she didn't have to hit a super low point. It was just kind of like, okay, I got called out by somebody who knows me really well.
That's also, sorry. It also brings up the idea of you can be really talented and at something and be happy at the position you're at. Like, you don't always have to like strive to go higher and higher. Like, you might be the best at something, but if you're happy where you are, does it matter? Like, it's like a personal journey for her, right? If she wants to go higher, she could. And I think that's where she's trying to get to in, at least in her self-realization.
That's the big thing for me right now, is that I think that she is absolutely brilliant. And like you guys said, she should be at their level. She should be a lieutenant commander, maybe even a commander, right? Like, she gets offered a first officer position. Like, she is more than capable of doing that. She's been promoted and shows that she can handle that. And I know that this is in the outline for later, but I'll talk about it now because we're talking about it. She has to somehow like just be doing this because it's that typical trope of not feeling like you can live up to your parents, right? Because even though her mother isn't like the captain of the most amazing starship, she's still the captain of a starship. And her father is an admiral, and that's a big deal no matter what. So there's that expectation then that she has to be amazing. So obviously she's not being amazing. Having said all that, she is absolutely brilliant. And I think this season is going to end with her at a crossroads. I really do, because I don't think that she stays an ensign in this show forever. I really don't. She needs to get promoted because otherwise this shtick, as fun as the show is, and I'm enjoying it, this shtick of her always just being a douchebag isn't going to last. It's not going to stay funny. The moments when she's in power and doing her job, I think are actually better than some of her funny moments, you know? So I'm excited to see these final 3 episodes and where she goes with that. And this was a good start.
I agree that it's funnier when she does take control and command, because my favorite moment in this entire episode is when she flips that switch and she's like, this is what we got to do, and immediately knocks the captain out. Like, cold clock, one punch to the face, like she's out on the ground, and then she picks up the kid and she's like, we got to go. I was just like, this is my Mariner.
That's the Mariner we love.
Yeah. But it could also be this thing where I know sometimes when people are put in like a position of leadership, whether or not they're natural leaders, some people are scared of it because then they have to basically be accountable for everybody below them. So I know like there's some people who, for example, maybe somebody wants to be an EMT and they train a lot. They're like, I want to help people out. I want to do this. But then like they realize, oh, somebody's life is literally in my hands. And then they freak out and they back out of it. Or like, you know, it adds to stress. And then that's why some people don't end up pursuing fields that they think for a long time they would. So I think that maybe that's also for her. Like some captains, you know, Pike was even like, you know, in the original series, like, I'm getting exhausted being a captain. I have to worry about all these people underneath me. Like, you get burnout, I guess.
I think she might have some trauma that we haven't seen yet, because in the flashback on her old ship, before that incident happened, and they're wearing the old uniforms, and she's still an ensign in her rank. And so she talked about being demoted several times. So I think we haven't even seen the big incident that caused all of this trauma.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's something we haven't seen, but this is the first episode that really made me question her motives. Specifically, why is she in Starfleet? Because we see she's great in crisis. She you know, takes command. She knows what to do. But, you know, in crisis mode, crisis mode is not always going to be, you know, where Starfleet's at every single episode in that, you know, so I can't believe she'd be happy being an ensign for the rest of her life, and that at some point, you know, she's going to realize that she's kind of just walking away from responsibility. But that's what Starfleet is. It's responsibility, and she doesn't really like those responsibilities.
Is it that she doesn't like it, or is that she's just, even though she is ready for it, she doesn't believe she's ready for it yet?
It's more like, she even said it's the dumb rules. You know, she has basically her own set of rules, you know, I'm getting a little mixed up here in that.
Do you think
Her own
maybe
kind of way.
The rules are maybe the rules are what happened to her, what the trauma is about that we don't know. Maybe something bad happened because of the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes me wonder if she was around during the Kirk era, if she'd be a captain right away, because they seem to be bending the rules way more back
Yeah,
then
definitely.
than they do
would have
now.
loved that swashbuckling attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
Cowboy diplomacy.
Yeah.
True. So any more thoughts on this? I guess we'll consider this the A plot of the episode.
Oh yeah, for sure. The A plot.
I really liked Amina. Is it Amina? Yeah. Amina.
Yeah.
I thought she was great. Like, I like that she's just kind of, she's kind of the polar opposite of Mariner, right? Like, Mariner doesn't know who she is, and Amina does. She's like, I'm a big deal. I'm a captain. Sub-captaining sucks, but I'll do it because I get to yell at this other captain who I know is stupid. I really liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was the side characters in the show, I think, start to become some of my favorite people. So like I hope to see her again in the future, as well as Badgie, as well as like some other people from past episodes. But I like their dynamic a lot. I like how you can tell that they have this like strong bond between them. And I was kind of hoping they'd be a little gay.
That would have been great.
There were so many moments where I'm just like, this is like kind of gay though.
They start making out in the captain's room, ready room.
I mean, you got to get rid of the tension somehow.
To her mother.
Sometimes you're right. Sometimes the tension was like, it was there, and I was like, this is the spark. This is the spark.
Speaking of the captain's ready room, did anybody scan the trophy case?
A little bit.
Oh yeah, wasn't there like a Gorn thing there?
Yes, the Gorn action figure under glass.
I loved it.
There were boxes of like either liquor or hot sauce. I assume hot sauce, but I thought that was very strange on her little mantle.
Hot sauce in my box, swag.
The Easter eggs in the show are limitless and so much fun. I watched all these interviews about the writers and the animators, and they talk about having Star Trek in every iteration, but mostly TNG. Everybody's watching it at every moment of every day, and they're just pulling all of these things in, and it's not just the writers, like the animators toss all the stuff in, and it's so fun to watch. Like I watched it 3 times since this morning, myself, my roommate, and myself again, and you see something new every time. Like,
you do,
the people doing this care about it, and I think that's what makes it so much fun.
I agree.
There were 2 references to the TNG episode Chain of Command in this. First up with the stealth suits that they use for their mission, and that to
the plant
those seeds at the very right moment.
Yeah, and the Jellico babysitter or babysitter Jellico type.
Yes.
The baby Jellico.
Oh, Jellico cats. Here we go.
Oh,
Jellico cats. Oh,
Don't do that. So moving from the A plot, we have the B, and this show always has like a B and then like a small C plot. So I like to refer to them that way. But we have Boimler and Tendi who get the secondary plots. Like I said, it tackles the transformation trope. But we're finally seeing what happens to the, quote, space accidents that are never reversed or, like, I guess, corrected by the end of an episode or the end of, like, a few episodes. So Rutherford is using the transporter. He's testing it out with Boimler. And then he accidentally puts our good old Bradward out of phase and ruins his chances to make a good impression for the visiting crew. Then Tendi creates what she thinks is a normal dog from Earth. What do we think about Tendi's dog, the Starfleet Division 14 freak ship, the farm, and the many Easter eggs and references this episode?
Other than Badgie, I want the dog to come back. Like,
right?
Those are the 2 that I want the most.
This is my dog, the dog.
The dog. You named it the dog? Yes. And then her talking at the end just made it perfect.
Flying off into the distance.
And then she's like, wait, you are a freak. Oh, I knew. I just didn't want you to worry.
And it's a golden retriever, the best kind of dog.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
What a good girl. She's such a good girl.
I'm just sad that she didn't stay with Tendi. Like, that could have been Tendi's thing. Like, Tendi has a dog. I think that would be great. Maybe lower decks aren't allowed to have pets. With the bunk.
They had another dog at the end, remember? Because she got licked in the face and she was like, ew.
Yeah, maybe I don't want a dog.
Yeah, she's like, oh, What a
was that one of the
weirdo.
lower decks though? I didn't see if it was a lieutenant or not.
I don't know. I think it was probably a higher
I think
up.
they were like, you only saw their back while they were walking the dog, so I
Yeah.
wasn't really sure.
I have an Easter egg question. Was Boimler being out of phase, the noise that he was making, a Easter egg to the singing flowers in the cage? Like that noise was very reminiscent. It wasn't.
No, it was
It
just
sounds
a-
like the transporter.
It was a-
It's just the
It was a
transporter.
transporter sound.
It was
It
like-
It's
it was
just
hanging
stuck at
around
one
and around
note.
and
It's
around.
like,
It was weird. I liked it.
But that's kind of accurate, because when you think about it, like in the original series and that everything, all the sound and music had to fade out just for that noise, So imagine it just like kept hanging around after you transport it back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love when they all got transported at the end, and that it was just that loud ringing, and I was just like, "Oh God, make it stop!" Because everybody
It's
like
cosmetic.
it's cosmetic goes away after a few hours.
I liked what's her name, Ta'ana, the chief medical officer, and she's just like, you're like a fucking science experiment. I want more of her. She is hilarious. Like, I remember the first episode where there were all the zombies, and she like runs at them, then does like a side flying Karate Kid kick at one of them. I love her. She's great, and she loves nachos. I love nachos.
Who
She's
doesn't
also
love
the
nachos?
first to curse out of like the bridge crew. She's always like, "What the fuck is your problem?" And I'm like, "Oh, cat lady, go off."
I was saying to Karen that I really hope for the when they release it on Blu-ray, they release a uncensored version because
Yeah, for
That would
sure.
be amazing.
Ooh.
Well, then
Because you're
we'll
sitting
know-
there like, which swear did they use there?
We'll finally know what they meant about the holodeck.
Oh
I think we
man.
know what they meant with the holiday.
We know, but I want to hear it.
But we want to know.
Well, I feel like Tendi and Ta'ana are the two versions of medical people I know, because when I was in college, all of my friends were nurses, and there are two types. There's the person who's very sure of themselves and takes no shit, which is Ta'ana, and then there's like the new green person who knows their shit but is also like super eager and like all over the place, and that is Tendi. Like, they fit those. That's very well modeled. It's like being back at college.
hmm
You just show like a chart to nurses and be like, "Which are you on a scale of Tendi to Anna?"
Well, if you're friends with a nurse, they just grab you and they're like, "Oh, I could hit that. Oh yeah." They're very strange people.
Yeah.
They're just like, "That's a good vein."
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
I
amazing.
remember being in university and being like, "Hey, do you want to? Can I practice on you?" I'm like, "No, I don't want that. Please, no."
One of my nursing friends, we were at a convention once, good old Dragon Con, and yep. And this was probably 10 years ago. I was in my 20s, so I still had the drinking fever. Now we're a lot more chill, but we were super, super drunk, and it's like 3 a.m. And she's like, "Guys, I got you." And she opens up this little extra suitcase she has, and she just hooks us all up to IVs. Like, I was like, okay.
She's
the
like,
next
"You're gonna have so
morning-
much." Oh,
No,
God.
And the next morning we all get up and all of our friends are just like, and we were like, "Let's do it Saturday."
Oh my god.
She's like, "Y'all are gonna be hydrated today. Nutrients are
Sure.
flowing."
That was a hell of a weekend.
So much
Amazing.
respect, man. That's awesome.
Wow. Nerds take it to another level. Could you imagine
Yeah.
being at a con and somebody's just like, "I got the IVs, let's go."
Would you like an IV? I wouldn't take it from a stranger, but from someone I knew, I was like, "Yeah, why not? I'm 22. I don't give a shit."
Brings a new meaning to like Star Trek IV. Star Trek 4? No, we literally had IVs in us.
Yep.
Ugh.
I'm living long and prospering.
We really are.
Yes.
So in Easter egg hunt, I threw in a few that like my brother and I picked up throughout the episode. So obviously we talked about the first two, which are the most like obvious, which is Jellico and the whole fact that the bridge crew is leaving. So it's like Picard when he abdicated command randomly to Jellico, and then you have the Babysitter Jellico-type, meaning Jellico. Good old RoboCop.
Oh man, Peter Weller.
Wait, Jellico wasn't Peter Weller?
Oh no, you're right. He was in the film.
Cox.
Yeah, Ronnie Cox. Yep.
That's what I always think of, though.
Yep. Very similar acting styles, maybe, kind of. I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was
I just know I hate Jellico. Like, you're made to hate him, but I hate him. Like, I felt like Will Riker in that episode during Jellico. I just wanted to punch him in the face, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
You couldn't Jellico there?
There it is. That's what I've been waiting for.
Wow.
Yes.
I was trying to be polite when we have guests. I'm like, let them talk. But really inside I'm like, punt.
You shouldn't do that. I'll talk too much.
Okay. Anybody else pick up any other little Easter eggs?
Dude, Threshold! They had one of the reptile salamander lizards. That was one of Janeway and Paris's little babies they left in the Delta Quadrant to fend for themselves.
Yes. I think his name was Anthony. I quoted it because I rewatched the episode. But yeah, the little dude, Anthony, he was just like, I'm a slug.
I got a text from my buddy at 8:30 in the morning, Simon, who's been on our show before, and he goes, "So, Anthony," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm still in bed." And I finally watched the episode, and about an hour before we started recording, he was like, "Let's try this again." So, Anthony. And I'm like, "You mean Anthony from Ant-Man?"
Anthony?
Anthony.
Anthony, why? Anthony Jr.
I'm sure like 1,000 people must have tweeted to the Delta Flyers because that episode's coming up. And I hope that, I mean, I know that they probably, I don't think that, do you think they watch the show? I don't know.
Who? Garrett and Robbie McNeil?
Yeah, I feel like Garrett Wong might watch it.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, are we talking about watching Voyager back to back?
No, watching Lower Decks.
Oh, yeah, I gotta think. I think there's probably a few Star Trek actors.
I think a lot of them want to be on Lower Decks. Like they're lined up. They're just like, give me season 2, baby. We're gonna see. I hope
so, man. I want to see all of them.
Yeah. Didn't LeVar Burton?
Harry Kim gets fucking promoted. Please,
somebody give him some rank.
Enterprise E with Picard in command, telling off someone on the Cerritos. That's all I need. Sorry.
I think the moment where the Vulcan asks her like, "Oh, why are you still an ensign?" or like, "How are you still an ensign?" was definitely a dig at like Harry Kim.
It totally was.
She's just like, all these amazing things you did, and you're just like still an ensign. And I was just like,
I thought the same thing, and I was sitting there, I was like, "Aw,
poor Harry."
R.I.P. Harry. Oh, man, he's still alive, but
how did Paris get re-promoted before Harry got promoted? That was some bullshit.
Tom Paris is the biggest. You love him, but also I swear he takes everything that like Harry does and like for some reason convinces people he did it. Like he has to be like, "Oh yeah, Harry definitely saved the ship, but like I did it. He was following my command, basically." Sure.
Yep.
And then you're just like, "Okay, fuck us then."
If you guys ever want to do a side podcast with Voyager, I'm in.
Oh, I'm on season 4 right now.
By the way, you're behind on finishing the series by episode 10.
I am because I borrowed DVDs from my friend to watch some shows, and then I knew I had to watch them quickly and then get them back. But it's eating me up.
Wait, is this your first time ever watching Voyager?
Yes, because I was a Deep Space Nine person.
See, and that's how I ended up watching Deep Space Nine like 5 years ago instead.
Right?
But that's so exciting for you.
Right? I'm having a good time. 709 popped up. The Borg shit was getting intense. And then my friend was like, "Hey, get these DVDs back to me." And I was like, "Yes, sir." I did. The shows are great.
Netflix.
Yep.
Oh, you were watching other shows on DVDs. I gotcha.
I
got sidetracked.
I think we should just do it. I think we should plan it for the Voyager finale when Brittany finally watches it. We'll do a bonus pod, and Erin will come on, and we will talk about the Voyager finale. Done. It's set.
I'm excited.
Good episode.
Great episode.
That was a good episode.
Endgame.
I can't believe they all died, Brittany. Man.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I can't believe they never made it back to Earth.
Yeah, me
Voyager
either.
makes it back home, and Tom accidentally flies Voyager into the Golden Gate Bridge, and they all fucking die.
Yep.
I was just like, I'm done. The podcast is over.
And Neelix starts a new TV show with Gordon Ramsay, and they become the most famous cooks on the planet. Even though Gordon Ramsay would be way dead.
Oh my God.
Do this. I would. That sounds amazing.
Gordon Ramsay's head in a bowl or something, like Futurama.
Would you like some Leola root stew, Gordon Ramsay? This is garbage. Where did you get this?
Go.
You idiot savage. Go ahead, Hawk. Sorry.
So my spoiler is Janeway runs for president, but gets beat by a loudmouth con man.
Oh God! My light over.
You made that real, and it hurt.
I was like deceased. Yeah, I just got like sniped.
I feel like Janeway could save us from what's happening. She could save us.
Where there's a will, there's a Janeway.
Oh, there it is.
Ta-da! I made that joke before.
Yeah, that's why I deserve
Right in the
this.
heart. I'm trying to fix my light over
Right in the heart.
Whenever there's
Right
a
in the
pun, I'm
heart.
drinking.
I like that.
Oh man, I should have done more.
Did you guys see the GIF? Sorry to tangent. The GIF of all of them during the Rockstar cold open, and somebody put as the words under the GIF, "I've got faith of the heart."
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh my god! It was
I
like,
didn't
yes!
see that. How
I
did
believe
I
some of
not
our
see
friends
that?
over
Didn't you
Star
see
Trek
that?
Discovery Pod who did that.
Oh, no,
Genius.
I love that song.
Yeah.
I think Eric's gonna lose his mind right now.
I will. I'm going to go. I'm looking for it right now.
It's so genius. What were we talking about?
Easter eggs.
We were talking about Easter eggs, so this all counts. We already talked about the black outfits from Chain of Command.
I love the time police mention.
Yes.
I know you guys are going to think about DS9, but I think about Enterprise when that comes up. It's like
I think
temporal
about-
agents,
Yes.
future Enterprise.
I haven't seen Enterprise, but I literally thought of DS9. I was just like, oh, time travel police, here we go.
I also really liked you had it at the bottom that the thing that's destroying the other ship is a giant space jellyfish. Like,
That's what it looked like.
I know it was supposed to be maybe kind of funny and like a throwback to Encounter at Farpoint, which was not the great
Yes.
pilot, but there was something really cool. And if for whatever reason, it gave me goosebumps at the end. It was just like
was
a
really
really
pretty.
cool moment. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Space jellyfish. Wait, you mean you didn't think it was beautiful at Encounter at Farpoint when they just the two little
It
jellyfishes
does in the
float?
remastered version.
Yeah, I agree with that. But no, I think they've been doing a good job with that, where this show is definitely like Star Trek as a farce. They're, it's rated R. There's, we saw Boimler's, junk covered up by a black bar. People are cursing. So it's fun, but you get those moments where there's like a beautiful shot or like that what a gorgeous alien, whatever the hell it was. Like, I was like, oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell it's made with love.
Yeah.
Like the sheer amount of references, and like you're saying, they're the animators and everybody, they're watching and they're like pulling things. Because some of them are really obscure references where you're like, is that like thing in the background they drew? Is that like from this episode? Like, would you find this in this hangar bay? So it's pretty awesome.
There was one Easter egg where where Mariner's talking about stealing their professor's car and like their old car. And I was thinking, are they talking about Alan Ruck from,
Oh yeah,
how we
from
mentioned
Ferris
that earlier?
Bueller's Day Off.
Or are they talking about
I
how
thought they were
Kirk
talking about
stole his
JJ
dad's-
verse.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
thinking
that's
that.
what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But he just drives
Yeah.
it off the freaking cliff, and she's like, "Yeah, we drove it straight into the bay. It was awesome." And I was just like, "Oh my god." Vulcan
And you look-
Jiu-Jitsu was mentioned.
Yeah.
And I think they're talking about like when Burnham does her like quote martial arts in Discovery, they're always like, "Oh, it's that Vulcan martial art that Susmana, whatever crazy name."
Lethe?
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called.
Julian.
Hawk, come on, man. I'm looking
hold
at you.
on.
Wait, what? Sorry, I was typing something. I got
The
distracted.
Vulcan martial arts that Burnham does. Lethe? Lenthe? I can't remember. It was an L word.
Bow to your infinite wisdom.
Zeus.
I should know it, and I don't.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's what I
Susmana.
quoted. Yeah, I said it's Susmana,
Nice.
right? See,
Where did I
know
get this
martial
other one?
arts. Sir.
I've been looking up Den of Geeks, been doing a really good Easter egg after the episode, and I've been looking at that pretty much after every episode. And I thank God there's somebody out there, because I remember the ones I remember, but listen, there's a lot of Star Trek out there, and
There
it's nice
is.
to have somebody out there just doing the fact check, man.
For sure. I mean, we had the two crew members that like all the errors or like the freaks, were based on different things we've seen in the series also. So like you had, these guys got messed up by Delta radiation, and then they're the people that are like wheeling around like Pike. So I
Yeah.
was just like, oh,
There were three of them.
there were three.
They put Hawaiian
And, like,
shirts
And
on
the
them.
little drinks.
Oh, beep.
Yeah.
Maybe they were being dropped off at Talos 4.
Oh, there you go.
I like that for once, like the farm actually exists. Like, when people
Yeah.
always use that in stories, like, it's supposed to be a trick or like some sort of dystopian nightmare, but really it's just like, oh no, this is a utopian place. Like you're humanely going to be treated and like helped. So I was just like, this is a good episode. People have disabilities, and like you always wonder in Star Trek, you're like, what happens to these people? Like it really messed up. So,
Oh, it's also like when you you tell children that their dog is going
Yeah.
to live on a farm and that.
Yeah.
And the
Oh,
dog
the dog
actually
goes to
does
live
go
on
and
the
live
farm.
in the
Right?
farm at the
But
end.
it's good. Julian, I was so worried when you made the picture saying we were live at 9:30 and it says like join the freaks on the farm and it was Tendy and the dog. I was like, oh god, they're gonna kill the dog.
I
And then I watched the episode and I was like,
I was totally expecting some sort of dark Futurama thing
Oh,
when I saw
Yeller?
it. I was like, yeah.
that's such a sad
The
episode.
twist
Oh my God.
was that the farm was there.
Yeah.
And then the dude that was taking that was so nice too. Like the whole thing, he's like, my ship just looks creepy. I got a third arm. I also laugh in a creepy way, but like,
We need to repaint this.
yeah.
That's just the way I laugh.
So I'm watching Friends for the first time, and I know, I missed that back in the 90s.
That's okay.
And
Yeah.
there's this episode early on where Ross was talking about the farm that they sent their dog up to, and that's the total feels that I got here. I was like, this is going to be the moment where Tendy finds out that it's not a real farm, and it ended up being a real farm, and it made me really happy, unlike what Ross went through in that
Was
episode.
like the biggest twist of the whole episode was just like the farm is real. Like when they pushed him out of the airlock and he was like, wait, the air's not escaping my lungs. What's happening? I was like, oh my God, it's the farm.
And it's the prettiest farm, man.
Glorious. They wanted to get it on with Boimler, but
It looks like one of those places that would have a special toilet there for just one person.
yeah, it looked just like that Rick and Morty episode. Oh my God.
Well, speaking of Boimler, he had a great line in that when I always forget the doctor's name, the cat lady doctor.
Oh,
Tana.
Tahana examining him. We're sending you to Division 14, and he's like, "Will they make me a real boy again?"
Me a real boy. This episode, it was a lot better, I think, the second time I watched it, because at first I was like, oh, it's like, I give it like a 6 out of 10. Like it none of the episodes are ever like they're all solid, I think. So none are ever like bad, I'd consider, but I was like, oh, it wasn't as funny as last week. But then I was like rewatching it, and like they fit so many references in this episode that like it's just so much for your brain to understand. And Boimler did go back to his like kind of annoyingness, which is sad, because last episode they were both doing so well. They're like, you're not annoying, and I was like, we're growing. And then this episode was like,
Ratted out
nah,
the mutineers.
oh, what an asshole.
Yeah,
I was like, Boimler.
Yes.
Boimler.
Was anyone surprised to see that the big alien that was in the ship was like one of those Farpoint aliens? I assume that's what it was.
3-arm guys.
It's from the animated series.
I meant the big
Yeah.
jellyfish thing.
Oh yeah, that's what I
Oh,
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
I thought it was.
I mean-
It looked like the Farpoint alien, the one that lifted off the.
Yeah, the jellyfish,
that
space
first-
jellyfish.
Yeah.
I didn't
They
think
got
about the
space
animated one.
whales, space whales, space jellyfish, whatever.
Space whales.
It's all connected. Sulaban.
So, we have about 3 episodes left. So where do we see the show kind of going? What do you think they have left to do? Do we have any
Q.
theories? Right?
They
Waiting
teased
for it.
us with that, and it's like every episode I think it's going to be Q, and he had the whole getup from Farpoint, so I'm ready for that.
And then watch just the last episode.
Yeah.
And it's only a
gotta be the
small
last
bit.
one.
It's absolutely going to be the last episode.
And it'll be the cold open, and you'll be like, oh,
No, it's going to be the cliffhanger.
oh, that would be even better. And then they show live action versions of them at the end.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You hear us, internet? Do it.
You called
Yeah.
it now. That's if that happens, that would be like the most fourth wall breaking moment. But it's Q. He can do anything.
I can't wait for Q. That's what we said like right away at the beginning of this show. I was just like, Q could just show up. They could just do that with this show, and we're gonna get it. Damn it! I can't wait.
Kept on referencing him.
All
Just
the
Yeah.
over and
time.
over and over. This is
All
the
the
first
time.
one that I don't think they referenced, which I thought was weird.
Which might mean he's showing up next episode. Just kidding.
Ooh,
You never know.
You never know.
Or I'll rewatch a 4th time or 3rd time, and then maybe I'll find a Q reference in there somewhere. So yeah, any final thoughts on the episode? Any favorite moments? Like I said, I love the moment where she punches the captain in the face. I was just like, this is hilarious. That's amazing.
I mean, I liked everything with the talking dog, but I think when its little head opened up and 2 bats flew out, I was like, oh man, I wish this episode was on like 3 weeks in the future for Halloween, because that was so perfect. It was like, oh my God.
I really
It's just doing weird
enjoyed
stuff.
I really enjoyed that Boimler and Tendi got to spend time together because they never really got to interact throughout the series so far. So seeing it's usually Tendi and Rutherford and then Mariner and Boimler. So I like the mixing of the characters. It's nice.
Yeah, and that was
Different
good.
team ups.
Yeah, different team ups.
Seeing Rutherford with Boimler also was like refreshing because you're like, oh, they're gonna hang out. He's gonna test this.
Yeah, but Rutherford kind of got shuffled off to the side again, which is a little disappointing. But whatever.
Hey, maybe next episode. You never know. It could be
needs a
Rutherford.
break. He just fought freaking what's his name? Oh my
Badgie.
Badgie. Why did I lose his name for a second?
It's okay. You're like the communication device.
You're
I forget
loading like
everything, you
Badgie.
guys. Oh yeah. Oh, can I help you?
I'm gonna cut off your foot.
I'm gonna rip out your
I'm
eyes.
gonna bathe in your blood.
I'm gonna slit
Father.
your little green friend's throat.
Oh, I love it. It's like
Yo, there's gonna be so many Badgie cosplayers next year. I'm telling you, it's an easy one. You get some little tight things, the little Mickey Mouse hands.
you have a fake arm with you. You just act like you're snapping it all the time. Like
Yeah, there you go. Like it's like a little Tendi head that's severed with a little blood right here.
amazing.
Making it dark. Making it dark.
We can make it happen. So
Final
that's
thoughts.
everything.
I love the dog. I don't think he's a returning character though. He is too distracting.
He's too
He
cute.
really is. He's too cute, but he's also too distracting because he just seems to do everything. If he's not turning into a metal cube, he's crawling along the ceiling and that with little spider eyes.
So just what normal dogs do.
Yeah.
Any dog owner will tell you. Turn your
Any
back for
dog
1
owner on
minute.
Orion.
Yeah, right. Oh man, I love that it takes until the end for Boimler to be like, "Wait, you knew this dog could talk and that it could do all these things?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's a dog." And he's like, "No, dogs don't do that at all." And she's like, "Oh, so great." So, make sure, listeners, if you're still here, hopefully you are because we're hilarious. Listen to episode 9, which is this bonus pod.
No,
No,
the
it's
bonus
our
pod
normal
is the
one.
bonus pod. Yep.
Is that Generations?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay. You can check out our main episode 9, Generations, which is going to be streaming at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, or right now, if you're listening to this on Friday, which you might be because we're up late and we get it.
Yeah, we give so much love to Generations. It's a love fest for Generations.
So much love, you can feel it for Generations.
Love everywhere.
I love that.
All our
Is
fun
this
is
sarcasm?
Generations
memories.
love.
Oh,
It's sarcasm.
Okay, because I've rewatched Generations recently, and I was not on this pod, but it's like a 2-hour episode, and it feels like it was already it felt like a story that had been done. You know, I don't know. It would
It
have been
was
a good
2 hours
episode.
of my life. That's
It
all
was.
I know.
Yeah, and
Listen to the podcast.
listen,
You're gonna love it.
first contact all the way. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
I make
Yeah.
lots of puns in it, so you know.
Yes.
Hey, real quick before we wrap up, I have something I need to. We were asked to talk about from someone on Twitter, if that's okay. Real quick. So I don't know if people have been seeing this around, but unfortunately, Nichelle Nichols, who plays Uhura, has been the victim of elder abuse, and that happens a lot more than you would think. Stan Lee was a victim of elder abuse as well. And there is a GoFundMe going on right now to support her. So if you want to check that out, we're going to have it on all our social media channels, but it's called Shields Up for Nichelle Nichols. And we're going to help her recover from some nasty elder abuse. So
That's terrible.
And
Terrible.
it's being run by her
God.
sister, so it's all above board and legit. And it looks like a lot of people have already donated. But no, I'm glad that I think the person who sent it to us was at a Nani Mus. But like you said, we've already all tweeted it out, and we'll do it again. But we got to take care of the family.
At the time of this recording, they have raised $108,000 and $108,000.
But she needs more, so hurry over and donate.
Yeah.
I love her that much. I love her that much
Yes.
that I punned it. But for real, it's a serious thing, and
Yeah.
need their support.
Yep. Star Trek family.
Speaking of which, live long and prosper, everybody. Erin, it was great having you on the show. If you want to share any of your social media for people to follow, you can insert that here. Just say whatever you want.
Hey, I'm really pleased to be on here with you guys. It was really nice of you to ask, and it's been super fun. I love talking to you guys on the social media. Your podcast is amazing. Again, production value, awesome, off the charts. I'm stealing as much as possible, so thanks for that. And if people want to check out my podcast with Allie, it's we are at AE Multiverse, because we're also going to podcast other shows. She hadn't seen Arrow, so we're doing that. That one will be out eventually. But it's a lot of fun, and it's all told through this this sort of perspective of one person has seen it a lot, which is me, and somebody who's new to it, which is Allie. And it's all about opening the door and no gatekeeping. So check us out. We're Allie, Erin, and the Lower Decks. And thanks, guys. I can't wait till we do our Voyager Endgame podcast.
It's gonna happen.
It is.
Yep.
So we'll see you again. We'll meet you again
Yay.
on our ship and continue this voyage. Or, yeah. That's a good send-off, right?
Bye, guys.
Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.